Friends, before we start tonight's journey, I ask you to stay with this story for at least 4 or 5 minutes. You will find that the story unfolds slowly, giving you a calm, gentle rhythm, perfect for drifting into sleep. If you enjoy it, remember to subscribe and like, because many more stories are waiting for you, each one designed to carry you through time and into rest. Now, let us begin. You close your eyes and imagine yourself standing in the heart of ancient Rome. Around you, the city is alive with voices, with footsteps, with the sound of hammers striking stone. But beyond the busy streets, beyond the crowded markets, there lies something that will shape not just the city, but an empire, the Roman road. At first glance, a road might seem simple, just a path leading from one place to another. Yet, in the world of ancient Rome, a road was far more than that. It was a promise, a lifeline, a mark of order and strength. When you picture these roads, you see not dusty trails but long, straight paths of carefully laid stone, stretching across valleys, climbing hills, and cutting through forests. They are built with precision, layer upon layer, sand, gravel, stones, and, finally, great flat paving blocks on top, smooth enough for carts, strong enough to endure centuries. You imagine workers bending low, placing stones one by one, their sweat dripping as the midday sun beats down. Some roads take months, even years, to build, yet slowly, like veins spreading through the body, they carry life into distant lands. These roads connect towns, villages, and forts. They connect farms to cities, soldiers to battlefields, merchants to markets, and in time, they connect you, the traveler, to every corner of the empire. You walk along one of these roads in your mind. Under your sandals, the surface feels firm, unlike the muddy tracks of other lands. Each step is steady, reassuring. Milestones stand at regular intervals, carved stone markers telling you how far you have gone, how far you still must travel. The road itself is straight, almost unnaturally so, as if the Romans refused to bend to nature, carving through hills instead of winding around them. You notice ditches on either side, carrying away rainwater so the road never floods. Everything is deliberate. Everything is lasting. As you move forward, you begin to sense why these roads mattered. Imagine soldiers marching in formation, their armor glinting as they cover miles in a single day. Imagine merchants driving carts filled with wine, oil, grain, or fine cloth, making their way to bustling markets in Rome. Imagine messengers riding swiftly, carrying news that could change the fate of provinces. All of this becomes possible because of the roads. But for you, tonight, the road is quiet. You are alone with the steady rhythm of your footsteps, the faint hum of cicadas in the distance, and the soft touch of a breeze. Traveling at night brings a different feeling. Calmer, slower, safer perhaps, for in your story, the dangers are far away. You feel the coolness of the stone beneath your feet, the faint echo of your steps reminding you that countless others walked here before. You pause for a moment to look around. In the far distance, you see the outline of a milestone. As you draw near, you run your fingers across the carved Latin letters. They tell you how far you are from Rome, the great capital. You imagine weary travelers long ago stopping here too, resting their backs against the stone, reading the same words, and wondering how much farther they had to go. In this way, you feel connected, not just to the land, but to all who traveled before. The roads of Rome were not only practical, they carried meaning. To the Romans, they showed power. Conquered lands became part of Rome when the roads arrived, tying distant peoples to the center. For local farmers, they meant new markets and new opportunities. For soldiers, they meant duty and endless marches. And for wanderers like you, they meant freedom, the chance to see the wide, varied world of the Empire. You continue to walk, letting the rhythm calm you. The stones are cool, the night sky clear. The road stretches straight ahead, disappearing into shadows, but you feel no need to hurry. You imagine inns waiting farther ahead, carts rolling in daylight, and merchants greeting each other on the way. But for now, you are content simply to follow the line of stone, steady and unbroken. In your thoughts, you see the road as more than stone. You see it as a thread, a connection through time. Even centuries later, fragments of these roads still remain, their surfaces worn but unbroken, a reminder of how carefully they were built. You imagine future travelers, pilgrims, peasants, scholars, walking the same paths long after the empire faded. And in that vision, you feel the weight of history, stretching long, unending, like the road itself. Your breathing grows slower as you picture the endless line of stone, fading into the horizon. There is comfort in this steadiness, in the thought of something built to last. The Romans may have come and gone, but the road remains, carrying your imagination forward, step by gentle step. You pause again, not because you are tired, but because you want to take in the stillness. The road is empty now, but if you listen closely, you almost hear the echoes. Boots striking stone, wheels turning, voices calling in Latin. They are only memories, yet they give life to the quiet. You stand there, caught between past and present, knowing that this story is only beginning. And so, you take another slow step forward, into the calm, into the night, into the long journey that lies ahead. You step forward from the firm stones of the Roman road and settle into a slower rhythm. Tonight, you imagine yourself as one of the countless travelers who used their own feet to move across the empire. Walking was not just common, it was the most ordinary, most human way of travel. For centuries, most journeys began and ended with nothing more than footsteps, mile after mile, day after day. You picture yourself in simple sandals, the leather straps wrapping around your feet. The soles are thin, worn from use, so every pebble and curve of the road presses lightly against you. Yet there is a steadiness in the motion. Each step brings a gentle beat, like the ticking of a clock or the rocking of a cradle. Walking becomes not only travel, but rhythm, a way to measure time and distance. In the cities, walking means weaving through crowded streets. You imagine Rome itself, where thousands push past each other daily, vendors calling out their wares, children running between stalls, guards patrolling the lanes. But beyond the walls, the journey changes. On open roads, there is space, silence, and the long stretch of stone ahead. Travelers walk in small groups for safety. Merchants, farmers, pilgrims. Some sing softly to pass the hours. Others walk in silence, lost in thought. The pace is slow but steady. 10 miles in a day is possible, sometimes even more if the weather is kind and the road is smooth. You feel the strain in your legs, but also the reward of distance covered. The empire is vast, and each step links one corner of it to another. You imagine yourself carrying a small bundle, perhaps bread, olives, and a flask of water. The weight rests on your shoulder, swaying gently as you move. The sun rises, casting long shadows across the road, then climbs high, warming your skin until the air shimmers. By midday, you stop for rest, sitting in the shade of a milestone or a lone tree. You take slow bites, drink sparingly, and feel the strength return. Then, when the shadows lengthen again, you rise to continue. Walking meant freedom, but also hardship. Rain turned dirt paths into mud, soaking your sandals and slowing each step. Dust clung to your skin in the summer heat. In the mountains, the climb tested your lungs. In the plains, the endless horizon tested your patience. Yet still, people walked, because to walk was to live, and to walk was to move forward. You picture farmers heading to market, leading goats or carrying baskets of fruit. You picture a soldier on leave, his armor left behind, walking back to his village. You picture a pilgrim traveling toward a shrine, whispering prayers as he goes. And among them all, you place yourself, simply one more figure on the road, anonymous yet connected. At night, you imagine stopping by the roadside. Perhaps there is no inn nearby, so you sleep beneath the stars. The earth is cool, the road humming quietly with the memory of footsteps. You gather your cloak tightly around you, listen to the distant sounds of animals, and close your eyes. Tomorrow will bring more walking, but tonight you let the rhythm of the day fade into stillness. Walking was not only for the poor. Even wealthy citizens sometimes chose to walk short distances. The narrow streets of Rome were often too crowded for carts or litters. Walking could be faster, easier, and even healthier. You imagine senators stepping through the forum, their sandals clapping against the marble. You imagine scholars strolling in gardens, discussing philosophy as they moved slowly along gravel paths. To walk was not shameful. It was natural. Still, the difference between rich and poor was clear. The wealthy could afford horses, litters, or carriages when distances grew long, while the poor relied on their own legs alone. Yet in the act of walking, there was equality. The same stones pressed beneath every foot, the same sky stretched above. You let yourself drift into the rhythm again. Step after step, the sound is steady, soft, like the whisper of waves against a shore. The road stretches endlessly, but you feel no need to reach the end quickly. Walking is not only about arriving, it is about the journey itself. With every mile, you feel closer to the land, to the empire, and to the quiet of the night. Sometimes walking meant pilgrimage. Romans traveled to sacred groves, healing springs, or temples of the gods. They carried small offerings, coins, or candles to leave behind. You imagine yourself among them, carrying a little oil lamp to a shrine. The path feels different when it has a purpose larger than yourself. Each step is an offering, a prayer, a connection to something unseen. Other times, walking meant exile. A man banished from Rome might be told to leave the city and never return, and so he walked away, each step pulling him farther from his home. You imagine his slow pace, his heavy heart, the silence around him as the familiar disappeared behind. Walking was freedom, but it could also be punishment. As the night deepens, you return to your own pace. Gentle, slow, unhurried. The stones are cool again, the stars clear above. You let the road guide you, mile after mile, as though it stretches forever. And in that thought, you find calm. For in walking, there is peace. The body moves in steady rhythm. The mind drifts in gentle waves, and time loses its sharpness. 1 mile fades into the next. One moment melts into another, until the road itself becomes part of your dream. You walk on, slowly, endlessly, until the world feels soft and far away. The road stretches onward, and now you are no longer walking alone. Ahead of you, you hear the steady clop of hooves and the faint creak of wooden harnesses. As you approach, the shapes become clearer. Donkeys and mules, patient and enduring. carrying bundles across the empire. You pause to watch them, and in their slow, sure steps you see another side of Roman travel. These animals were the backbone of movement, stronger than men, smaller than horses, tireless in their labor. With them, merchants carried grain, wine, cloth, and tools. Without them, the roads would be empty of goods, the markets silent, the cities hungry. You imagine one mule in front of you, its ears flicking back and forth, its hooves striking the stone in a rhythm steady as your breath. On its back, tied with ropes, rests a pair of heavy baskets filled with olives. The weight would break a man's back, but the mule carries it patiently, step after step, mile after mile. Its dark eyes seem calm, though its breath comes out in quiet puffs in the cool night air. Donkeys, smaller but equally hardy, walk alongside. Their backs are piled with sacks of flour or clay jars filled with oil. Their pace is slower than horses, but they can climb rocky paths, ford shallow streams, and push through narrow mountain trails where wheels would fail. To watch them is to understand that the empire moved not on chariots, not on ships, but on the humble backs of these creatures. You picture a small caravan of merchants with their animals. The men walk beside them, guiding with soft words, urging gently when the loads grow heavy. Bells tied to the animals' necks jingle faintly in the night, a sound both musical and practical, warning others on the road that travelers are near. Together, the group moves like a quiet procession, never fast, never hurried, yet always moving forward. You notice how carefully the loads are balanced. One basket must weigh the same as the other, or the animal would stumble. Leather straps press across their sides. Ropes creak with the shifting of weight. From time to time, a driver stops, adjusts a basket, pats the animal's neck, and resumes the journey. It is a partnership, man and beast sharing the burden of distance. Sometimes the animals pull small two-wheeled carts. These are not the fast, elegant chariots of the circus, but rough wooden wagons with squeaky axles. The wheels rattle as they turn over stones. The load sways from side to side, but still the animals move forward. Slowly, steadily, they bring goods from one town to the next. You imagine the long roads leading to Rome itself. Day after day, streams of donkeys and mules arrive at the city gates, their loads ready for markets. Without them, the baker would have no flour, the weaver no wool, the wine seller no jars. They are the invisible laborers of empire, uncelebrated but essential. Travelers, too, sometimes relied on these animals. A weary person might sit upon a donkey's back, holding onto a rope as the animal walked on. The ride was not smooth, but it was easier than endless walking. Families with children often rented such animals for long journeys, the little ones swaying gently as the miles passed. You think of the difference between horses and mules. Horses were swift and noble, used by soldiers, couriers, and the wealthy. But mules were practical, half horse and half donkey, stronger than either alone. They could carry heavier loads and endure harsher roads. In them, the Romans found the perfect companion for the endless work of empire. As you picture the caravan moving, you also sense the quiet hardships. The animals grow weary, their hides rubbed raw by straps, their hooves chipped on stone. A merchant may pause to tend a wound, binding it with cloth. At night, the animals are fed hay or grain, watered from buckets and left to rest. They lie down beside the road, their ears twitching as they drift into their own kind of sleep. Yet for all the labor, there is a gentleness in the sight. The animals do not rush. They move at their own pace, teaching patience to the people who guide them. In their calm presence, the road itself seems calmer, the journey less harsh. You find yourself walking beside them now, listening to the rhythm of their hooves, the creak of wood, the occasional soft call of the drivers. The sound is steady, soothing, almost like a lullaby. Imagine, too, the mountain paths. High above the valleys, the road narrows, and here only donkeys and mules can pass. They step carefully, hooves finding footholds where no cart could travel. To watch them is to see trust. Trust between man and beast, and trust in the path ahead. Slowly they bring salt from the sea, timber from the forests, and stone from the quarries. Without them, the Empire's cities would stand empty of supplies. As the night deepens, you picture yourself resting near a camp where merchants have stopped. The animals are tethered, their loads set aside. Fires burn low, and men share bread and wine, their voices hushed. The donkeys doze standing, their eyes half closed, while the mules stretch out on the ground. You sit quietly, wrapped in your cloak, and feel the peace of shared company. The long day is done, and the road will wait until morning. You reflect, in this moment, on how humble strength shapes history. Not every hero rides a shining horse or drives a swift chariot. Some heroes have long ears and patient eyes, carrying burdens without complaint. And as you drift further into the calm of the night, you realize that in their steady footsteps lies the rhythm of the Empire itself.